What's going on, everybody out there in podcast land? This is GamerFeed Radio. Hello, what's up? I am joined this evening by really my one true bromance, Brad Wallace.
What's been like a month in a row now of Kyle somehow slipping out of the podcast.
Poor Kyle. Well, you know, he's got work and things. But today, we're going to talk about all the amazing things in gaming that have happened in the last week. And let's be honest, there's lots of fun things to talk about. Most notably, of course, is the Tokyo Game Show, which will be the highlight of today's presentation. So we'll just jump right in to all of that. First of all, for those of you who are totally oblivious to mankind, the Tokyo Game Show is a thing, still apparently. It's, I guess, you know, Japan's version of E3, if you can call it that, although on a much smaller budget.
True that.
And honestly, this year, I think it was more gameplay demos and less super extreme announcements about things that we didn't already know.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed. Like, I expected it to be a little mini E3 like it has been in the past, where you get all these big things, especially out of Sony, big Japanese company. But just really kind of a sleepy year. It was just kind of like, and I guess maybe Japan isn't as big of a console game market anymore, so that makes sense. But
that's the rumor.
Yeah, it's just kind of sad. Like E3 now, and even the Video Game Awards and every garbage incarnation, they, you know, end up being, I was about to say something really horrible, pooped out onto our computer and television screens every December. Like some kind of sexually transmitted disease that flares up a certain time of year. There's no medicine to get rid of it.
So basically what you're saying is that the Video Game Awards is the herp of the industry. Okay, well, I mean, you know, everybody's got to have an itch somewhere.
Like, I joke, but then I watch it. And, you know, everybody does. Like, everybody knows it's stupid and dumb and bad.
But I think that's because we're starved for it, right? I mean, I
guess the last one was fine, where Jeff Keighley had more of, like, editorial control over it. But in general, the one in the freaking barn was about the dumbest thing I've seen in my life.
I mean, you try to appeal to different, you know, demographics, I guess.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Here we got Zelda and Star Fox, so.
Right.
Yeah.
So, interestingly, I felt like, and this is just me thinking, which is genuinely dangerous. I thought there was more information and news released from PAX than there was from TGS. I mean, that.
Yeah.
I really. I mean, I was. You know,
there's like 900 PAXs a year, so.
Yeah.
So I don't.
That's true. That's true. So anyway, with all of the non-news, we kind of pulled some of the things that we thought would be really interesting for us to discuss, chat, and otherwise talk about. So, of course, before we begin, I want to start with something that's not on the agenda, because you know that's how I roll.
Oh, yeah.
I know. And that is that during the past week, it was announced that Star Fox, since you mentioned it, has been delayed to 2016. So now, if you are a Nintendo console person, you are now pretty much relegated to Yoshi.
Yeah. I'm excited about the Fatal Frame, the horror game.
Okay, yeah.
But that's not really a big thing.
I mean, yeah, it'll sell 100 units, yeah.
Yeah, 100 units.
You know, you and the other crazy, scary people. Well, and speaking of things that are also not on the agenda, did you see that the spiritual successor to PT, Silent Hills, is now... Not Silent Hills. Allison Road is now on Kickstarter.
Yeah, I hate that thing, and less said about it, the better. I'm not gonna...
Did you watch that, like, 13-minute trailer a while back?
It's so bad. It's just like
the graphics were good, and it was jumpy.
Yeah, I think people are kind of seeing through... I just looked it up here. Yeah. It's got $50,000 of its $500,000 goal. Yeah, they can go screw themselves.
Well, now, come on. It's only been out since a couple of days ago, right? How many days is left?
The 29 days to go.
So $50K in a day?
Maybe, I don't know.
That's pretty good.
It makes me upset. I don't know.
I mean, don't be jealous that it's double your salary in 24 hours. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm just saying, I'm bitter that, one, Silent Hills isn't real, but two, that these people are trying to, like, make $500,000 of other people's investment money, low risk, high risk, I should say. Like, insanely high risk investment money on some. I don't know. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's generally.
I hate it. I'm hating it.
I mean, I feel your pain. All I'm saying is, I think there's definitely a market for it. I hope for it to be successful because from great campaigns on Kickstarter, we got things like Shovel Knight and Mighty Number 9.
I know. I always forget about like some of the great games that were actually Kickstarted.
Yeah, Shenmue 3 got a bunch of money. I mean, it's as much as it sucks, we do have to.
Daily is a huge one.
Yeah. I mean, we just have to be, unfortunately, real with the fact that may become more and more frequent as time passes. If Konami is any blueprint for the future of publishers.
Yeah.
About that.
Baby tidbit, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, let's.
Tell us, listeners, what happened to Konami.
Well, other than apparently when you're in there, it's more surveillance than the red light district in Amsterdam.
Yeah, I've heard horror stories from employees saying it's like Big Brother, terrible, worst place, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, definitely. And there was a big thing, I guess one of the directors or the president or somebody, did an op-ed or an article and wrote about how, we're taking a break because I guess Metal Gear was like a $50 or $80 million budget or something. Yeah. And obviously they're going to have to go into sleeper mode for a couple of years. And did say, however, that there was a distinct possibility that there could be future console development, but it would not be this generation.
That's just insane to me. I mean, that's basically their way of soft admitting defeat, but like...
to focus on the mobile space and casinos, because, those Japanese like to gamble, apparently. What?
I guess so.
But silliness.
Whole thing is crazy. We can only hope and pray that Kojima gets out of there. I mean, he's already out of there, but, like, gets a new home, I should say.
Yeah.
I want to see, like, big-budget Kojima games, not tank the company budgets, but, like, a good, real, retail-sized game. I don't want to see these freaking trends of indie games that are walking simulators where it's someone talking and whispering to you and going, all of life is really just a flower, and really we're all in the universe and stuff. Like there's like 900 of those games. Like I want to see a freaking open world Afghanistan, Soviet Union, military, blah blah blah.
I think that says a lot about you, so I hope everyone's taking notes.
I mean, I like those kind of games. I like certain games. It's just there's too many of them. I want to see
So you're all about destroying the commie pinko scum.
I'm all about killing the Soviets. That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
I take that back.
I was going to say, there may be some impending incursions. There may be some of the former Soviet Union that listen to our show. 1 to 2%, if my memory serves me correctly. Be nice.
I want to see a big Kojima game. I want it to be a Silent Hills kind of game.
I'm telling you, it would have been amazing. But
gosh,
maybe Sony will pick it up. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know.
Yeah, the whole thing. It'll probably take like at least 2 years, I would say, to like shake out. But
late is better than never.
I want it now. Is my point. I need it in my hands.
Well, that sounds like a personal problem. So, with that, TGS news. So, people who were listening or watching or paying attention to the news cycle noticed that Morpheus, the PlayStation virtual reality set, is now being called PlayStation VR.
What?
And it is
PlayStation TV.
Yeah, right. And apparently is going to be sold at a new console price, which means like $300 to $400.
It's like the Apple Watch of video games, where like you need the iPhone to use the watch. It's like you need the PS4 to use the new system.
Yeah,
it's a weird strategy, but
basically, it's kind of like I can't believe I'm even going to suggest this, but it's basically the Nintendo gamepad not included with the Wii U. So you pay $250 for the console or whatever, and then you pay another $200 for an optional gamepad. The question is because it's VR, people will buy it? I mean, but I'm telling you right now, I will not buy it for $300 or $400. That's not, even if they come out with a bargain price of $299, I'm not buying it until it's like $99.
What's so funny is people forget so quickly that, do you remember PlayStation made a 3D TV? And it was supposed to be the same deal where it was like, an entry-level PlayStation-branded thing that was supposed to really tie into your PlayStation 3. You know, it's supposed to be like a companion piece to it and all this stuff. It reminds me a lot of that, and that thing was a friggin' dud. So I would not be surprised if PlayStation VR is not some massive success.
Yeah.
Like, VR is a very, very weird thing, and I've spoken highly of it, and I'm still really optimistic about it. But that's still another one that probably is going to take a couple years to really shake out.
Well, yeah, because I think they said they were confirming like 6 or 9 game releases for PlayStation VR in 2016, and you think, okay, that's a Nintendo pace.
Yeah.
So does that justify
6 games in 5 years,
right? Does that justify
Like
$300 or $400? Not for me.
Well, and the other thing about VR is it started with the Oculus Rift was really the one that, you know, blew everybody's pants off and was like the first real VR thing. And that was like a Kickstarter also, speaking of Kickstarter, that was one that just was insanely successful, had these huge names endorsing it and stuff. But then the funny thing about it is, as they've developed it now for like, literally I think it's been 3 or 4 years since the Oculus Rift was first prototyped and Kickstarted. But, what was I saying? I lost my. But the weird thing about VR is what they've discovered is that it really doesn't translate well to like most games. Like, it would be in a lot of games, but like I can't imagine being anything other than a first-person game in VR. Right. And they've tried to tinker with stuff, but I think with third-person camera stuff, that just is going to give you like, you know, motion sickness and disorientation and all the bad things you hear about. But for like that kind of first-person immersive movie sort of thing,
right?
That seems like the best experience in the world. Based on, I've never seen one, but like all the first-hand reports are like, you know, believe the hype. This is the real deal. But I just don't see it being I don't think any Sony big party first-party games would support it. Like I don't see Morpheus supporting it. I don't see Horizon Zero Dawn. Whatever. I don't know.
That actually looks like a good game. I'm just saying.
Looks good, but like that's not going to be a VR game,
right?
If
no,
it's like first-person Skyrim thing. It would be.
Well, no. I mean, what's going to happen is people are going to buy it. They're going to run into walls, crack their faces open, and sue Sony for millions of dollars.
It's the new Wii remote thrown through the TV.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
bam.
Yeah, well, I mean,
funny thing about what?
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say. I mean, it's that it's just it's an accident waiting to happen, and it's like, you know. I don't know.
Actually, Sony was the first one to really kind of solve that problem in a weird, small way. But the PlayStation VR is like sunglasses or something where like you can kind of flip them up, you know? Mm-hmm. And you can actually see your surroundings a lot easier than like the Oculus Rift prototypes were. So a lot of people are saying it does take that into account that like you can peek almost. It's hard to describe without a visual. But like the whole thing kind of flips up even though you're still wearing it. And like in this really easy motion that you can like check your surroundings or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to do you much good if you've already hit a wall.
Did I just hit a wall? Flip. Oh yeah, I hit a wall.
Oh my god. Your blast shield's up. It's just weird. I don't know. I mean, I think the fact that it was vaguely announced at new console pricing was an instant turnoff for me. I was kind of hoping somewhere in like the $150 to $200 range would be a good, reasonable place to start. I mean, it's not been formally announced, so I don't know.
At least $500. There's no way in heck they do less than $500.
It's just, and no one's going to buy that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
No one's going to buy that. They'll have to wait. It'll go on fire sale, and by then, you know, it's the law of diminishing returns. You don't get the sales numbers, publishers back out, they cancel development, they redeploy resources. I mean, yeah, it's not.
But the good thing about VR as a whole is that you'd imagine, because PC and PS4 are so easy to like co-develop for or whatever, like a lot of PC games are really easily ported over. Mm-hmm. It seems like VR is going to take off on PC in a bigger way than PS4, but also that PS4 is going to have its VR. That it's easy to imagine developers developing a PC game that's easily ported to the PlayStation VR, so that there might be a little more support there. Like the same way with like Wii U doesn't get any support other than indie games because those are really easy to make with the Wii U apparently. Like it's that kind of thing where like you get whatever freaking flavor of the afternoon indie game there is, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess we will have to wait and see, but that was a thing that was announced, and it was a pretty big one because we've talked fondly of Morpheus in the past, and,
stuff, but yeah.
It all sounds great until you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other things, looks like some DLC for Bloodborne, right? The Old Hunters. Are you excited? Do you care? I mean, it's DLC. Were you the Bloodborne guy?
Oh, that's probably my game of the year. As much as I love Metal Gear, I almost have to give it a pass because it's the 5th one and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Metal Gear is no doubt like the better game at its core, but Bloodborne is like this fresh, even though it's sort of a Souls spin-off thing. Bloodborne's probably my game of the year right now. Yeah, I love it.
But
know me with DLC, I'm not getting the nope.
I don't understand. I don't understand that. You just miss out. I mean, that's all I'm saying. You miss out.
It's a matter of principle. I'm sure I do. I mean, I don't.
You do. You cut your nose off to spite your face. I mean, you don't
I don't feed that dragon. All right.
Okay. Well, you keep telling yourself that one of these days you will break, and actually you have before, so you're really not nearly as religious about it as you claim.
I literally can't think of the last one I did.
We talked about it on the show, and I made a big deal out of it. I said you're a lying sack. And,
which one was it?
I don't remember. I'd have to go back and listen.
I remember one was New Super Luigi U or whatever. I bought that.
Yeah.
But I haven't bought like the Mario Kart. I haven't bought like any PS4.
No, there was something else. It'll come to me eventually, but yes, you did, and I gave you crap, and I said, Burhad, for shame, and did the the finger wagging. That's gonna be our hashtag. Hashtag finger wagging.
You actually just killed me. I died.
Hey, that's what happens when you give people the finger.
This is now the funeral of Brad Wallace.
Peace out, sister. Excellent. So, since you brought up Metal Gear,
I did what?
Metal Gear Online was a big topic, especially the last 24 hours of the news cycle, and it's getting really good reviews, and people are genuinely pretty pleased with the way it is and how it works. I obviously don't own the game, so I can't really speak to it, but so far it's being spoken of very highly, which is not what I was expecting. Yeah. I think when you and I talked about it, you were like, I'm never going to play that anyway, it's stupid.
To be honest, I don't see myself playing it at all, because I had Metal Gear Solid 4, which also had an online, but I didn't touch it at all. The weird thing about it is, I mean, the controls for the game are way better than in 4. I think it works better probably as like a quote-unquote shooter in 5, just because it's more traditional twin stick stuff that, just makes sense. But I don't know, that game just doesn't appeal. It's like, even though I'm not crazy about Last of Us, but like Last of Us, even though people spoke highly of that multiplayer, it doesn't seem like it fits. Like, even if it's a good multiplayer, it just doesn't need multiplayer. Like, right. Metal Gear is a 10 out of 10 without multiplayer. Why on earth did they waste all this Konami money on an online mode? And you kind of think that maybe Kojima didn't want to, but Konami wanted to make it this big online Call of Duty killer thing. And that's why the budget ballooned and they opened this Los Angeles studio just to make the online mode and all this crazy stuff. But yeah, it's like they don't need it. The game's already perfect, basically. So, I don't know. It's whatever. If people like it, then that's awesome. And it's free, so you can't complain about that. It's not like they're charging you after the fact. But
right. No, I mean, it's legit. It's interesting how, it's kind of like we talked about this many episodes ago where, everybody's doing the open world concept and creating an online, world for Metal Gear is kind of in that vein. So you're getting a twofer, right? You're getting, the old 1-2 punch and one $60 price tag, but I don't know.
Very similar to like Destiny, sort of, but mostly similar to Grand Theft Auto. Like, that's the clearest, apples to apples thing. Grand Theft Auto 5 is a 10 out of 10, one of the best games ever without its online mode. And then it has this massive, huge online mode too. That's, like, in my opinion, totally pointless. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Speaking of Destiny, The Taken King, its latest version, the beginning of what Bungie is claiming to call Year 2, has begun. I have hundreds and hundreds of friends out there in Dads of Destiny, shout out, that we play pretty much all the damn time. And everybody, I haven't met a single person yet who has really anything bad to say about the combination of the patch that was released last week prior to the release of the expansion and then the actual game itself. I mean, the content it feels virtually limitless, as evidenced by the fact that I took several days to basically, lock myself in the basement and play it nonstop. Nice. To quickly level myself up as fast as possible, and Sunday night I finally breached the 290 light level, which means I can actually apparently do the new King's Fall raid without... Which I desperately want to get in.
I know, that's like the one thing that tempts me about DLC is I want to play that and the other old new raid.
Crota's End. It's good. So, the game, I gushed a little bit about it last week in generic terms, but now that I've actually had, hours and hours of time with it, both in a fire team and solo, I mean, the game it's just incredible. The levels, the items, the choices, the quests that go on forever. I mean, there's just always something to do now, where before it was like, I have this weekly thing, I have to do it, and now I just kind of wait until next week. This is absolute insanity. There's so many different things to do and try and explore. Really done. I mean, Bungie's done a great job. They were not lying. They took a lot of feedback. They made a lot of the changes they need to. It was actually playable at TGS for attendees. So,
yeah, it seems like I've noticed that they've kind of been doing this Japanese marketing blitz. They're really trying to tap into that online Japanese role-playing game scene with Destiny, which is kind of interesting. Sony's promoting it hardcore, I've seen.
Oh, of course. I mean, it's practically a Sony exclusive without being a Sony exclusive.
Word.
But I mean, it really truly is everything I expected and more. And everybody's been super happy about it, as they should. And immediately following the posting of this podcast, I will be logging in and losing hours of my life I'll probably never get back.
Nice.
So, hooray to that. Good job, Bungie. You win. And I'm sure people are giving you all kinds of feedback. Ignore the bad and remember all the good things.
Nice.
So you mentioned it a little bit earlier with Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3 gameplay.
Yes.
Right? We saw a little bit of that at TGS. Have you watched anything or seen anything about it?
I watched one off-screen or whatever you would call it, not like a direct feed, but somebody just taking their camera up to it. One off-screen demo, and it looked so good. Obviously, you don't need to sell a fan on the sequel. I've played all the other games, and I love them all to death. So the third one, or the fourth one really, or the fifth one really, is
I can count to 5 too.
I'm just thinking Demon Souls and Bloodborne are kind of outside of that.
Right.
But, I can't wait. It seems like a real return to form. And I like the fact that they came out and said that this is the last one of the trilogy is what they're calling it. And I like the fact that they're not going to keep milking this, because it's been basically every 2 years pretty consistently.
You probably should get that checked.
I should probably get that checked.
Well, at first I thought it was like one of those ogre guttural noises that you took. That's a great sound effect that I'm going to steal from the audio of this recording, because it could be used for so many different things.
No, but anyways, I'll briefly sum up what I saw in my off-screen YouTube video demo I saw. It seems like they're finally fixing the magic. I love the way the magic system worked in the first Demon Souls. And then in the 2 Dark Souls games and in Bloodborne, which there's 0 in Bloodborne, but in the 2 Dark Souls games, they weren't ever as good to me. It'd be too complicated to describe, but they basically made it really, really weak in Dark Souls 1 and 2. But this one seems like they're really taking a focus on magic for the first time since the original game. And that makes me happy, because that's the way I played the first original game, was mainly a magic dude or whatever. But the graphics look so good. It looks like it's on the Bloodborne engine or whatever. It's way more detailed than the other games. Obviously, this one's a next-gen one. And they said it's coming out in April, so it's like, not that far
So
away.
we'll see it in October. Okay.
Yeah. No, they're pretty good with their release date. FromSoft is such a talented developer. They're like the best. And I'm done.
Keep telling yourself that. Okay, yeah. I mean, look, I have never really been or cared too much about the series, but it definitely looked good. I mean, I gotta give it props. It does look good, and
You like Destiny, and if like I remember Rob saying that the frustration level might be too much for him, and I get that, but like if you like the way you play Destiny, like if you really sink some time into it and get good at it, like the game doesn't punish you for being just cheap or whatever. Like the only reason the game would be hard is if you suck at it.
yeah.
But like that game is so rewarding. Like I promise, it's like one of the best game mechanics or whatever you'd call it, like ever. Like I'm totally in love with it. Like it's exactly like Zelda, or not exactly, but like it's I don't know. You'd have to play it. I think you would like it a lot if
Well,
you could
perhaps
handle
sometime we should all get together and do a let's play after you've purchased all these games.
Oh, that'd be great.
So we can have several adult beverages of our choosing, and you can laugh at me suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's pretty much how it will be. No, I mean it's funny to hear.
Fun.
It's funny because
it's addicting too. Like
well,
when
yeah.
you die, like it kind of pushes you to go further. So like you like want to push yourself. It's like motivational. I'm not even just. I mean, it's funny, but like literally, it's like you play it. You're like, I can do this. Like, why is this getting me? It's like you apply that to your entire life, and you're in a good place. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a Dr. Phil kind of game.
I mean, yeah, because he's all about dark satanic things.
But I don't even know what the.
Wow. No, I just think it's funny to hear people comment and say, I don't think Nick could handle it when, I don't know how Rob doesn't have much room to talk.
When
it comes to handling things, yeah.
It's up.
Yeah. So, okay, so if you're interested, the trailers and such are available. Check it out.
Looks awesome.
Things that we can lament being here in North America is apparently there's going to be a PS4 price drop in Japan, of course. Because, I guess
yeah, not as many people or whatever.
Yeah, I mean it's sort of lends credence to this commentary that's starting to spread around different Japanese publishers and developers in general that the Japanese market is really kind of moving away in droves from the console gaming experience in favor of, I should say, more mobile, get it on my phone or a portable device situation.
Yeah.
So I guess a price drop is another way to try to entice people, but I mean, is it too early? I'm jealous. I want a price drop.
Yeah, true that.
I mean, $3.99 or whatever, 2 years in.
Well, the funny thing is, they still sell like friggin' hotcakes every month. It's just crazy, crushing it in the sales. So why would they? Like, I get it, but yeah.
Well, apparently that must be a North American only thing.
Yeah. Maybe Europe with like a freaking FIFA game or whatever. I have to say frickin', and it bothers me because I wanna cuss, but like it's a family show.
We still haven't done our explicit episode.
I know.
But we have to save Kyle for that because I know that if he can't drop an F-bomb every other word, he would be greatly disappointed he was not included. Yeah. There was some Battlefront news, right? Star Wars Battlefront, for those who aren't aware. And if you're really curious about the bona fides of the Gamer Feed radio team on all things Star Wars, go back in time to our Star Wars Nerd Fest episode where...
I wasn't even on that one, but it's a good one.
Yeah, I wasn't on it either, but...
How about that?
Well, you have to defer.
Like it's a great show.
It was a great show, but you have to... I'm bragging about our teammates because they were very good. It's just like the Pokemon show,
By the way, I don't want to get into any on-air drama here. I'll save it.
Well, you can't just say that and then not say it.
Okay, I have a question. I did some cyber stalking.
Oh, that's fun.
And our old cohort, the listeners out there might know his name. His name is Rob.
Yeah.
So you guys were like playing Destiny together, right?
Yeah.
Is he maybe warming back up to the podcast, or?
I'm not sure. We had amicable terms, and there was some work and some other things, life situations kind of affected it, and I'll tell you. I mean, he was on. Coincidentally, he had time off the same. Most of the same days that I did last week, and so we played several hours
that makes sense.
together. Yeah. Well, it was a lot of fun, and I always leave the door open for when he has some availability to join us. I know that the schedule is as you may recall.
Yeah, I'm not so fond of that schedule.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing.
They have factored into my stepping away from it, as it were.
Yeah, but, so it's a tough thing, but no, I definitely think that there will be absolutely some guest appearances in the near future, and hopefully a more regular return, because his commentary was always spot on and generally hilarious when provided.
Also, a quick shout out to should we mention this or not? I'm going to say it because I've already brought it up. Kyle Pope, as we've talked about at the beginning of the show, says he's a little swamped also. Yeah, he might be taking a wee little break. So
and definitely
all power to them. Obviously, it's fun to sit around and just joke around about our hobby, but I mean, there's real life gets in the way.
It's like several other podcasts I listen to. One of them, there's a guy that on Guardian Radio, which is a Destiny podcast for those Destiny fans out there. And one of the guys on there is legit like a scientist. Like, he's legit a scientist. And he would do an audio grimoire, read one of the grimoire cards and do cool sound effects. They have a pretty slick production over there. Nice. And he literally just took a hiatus on the show for a year or more because he's been recruited by NASA.
What?
To legit build a space probe to Mars or something.
Nice.
I'm like, really? So now, speaking of life getting in the way, I mean, it happens all the time. So we are flexible and we accommodate all of those challenges. We
might have to dip into the gamer feed pool, as it were.
Yeah.
Some gems.
The rest of the team that has had a nice vacation.
Yeah.
Well, it's just hard to get everybody together, right? That's always the thing.
We're all busy, and by we all, I mean everybody but me.
You and I.
We got nothing going on. Yeah, we're like, heck yeah, we'll sit around for ish an hour and just kind of talk about our favorite things.
Shh, don't tell my wife. Don't tell my wife. Don't tell
sorry.
Oops, she's listening. No. So anyway, Star Wars Battlefront, right? They made a showing at TGS, and some news that came out earlier today is, I guess it's going to have dedicated servers, which is apparently a big deal. So you can expect, for those of you who are Battlefront fans, that you will have a more friendly user experience than in the past, where apparently you did not have dedicated servers.
Yeah, I don't know what dedicated servers mean anymore, because I remember, I'm not an old guy or whatever, but back in the 90s, I used to play I'm not kidding, literally.
Because that was a long time ago. Well, for you it was.
A lot of people talk about it as if they were in their teens and stuff, and I wasn't a teen in the 90s.
No, you were in diapers.
No. But I remember, I should say early 2000s more than 90s. Because now I'm thinking, it's no, that's not right. So this would have been maybe 2002 to 2004-ish. When high-speed internet was literally kind of just coming out.
Yeah, when you had 500K per second.
Yeah, I think we had that. But I remember playing Unreal Tournament and Quake and all these kind of old-ish PC games online. One of my friends, he was kind of into that, so he got me into that. But I remember those had what were called dedicated servers, and that meant you could host your own. It meant dedicated as in user hosting almost. And now dedicated means the opposite. It means the game hosts dedicated server. I don't know. So that phrase confuses me. It doesn't. I don't know. Well,
the article's on our Facebook page, so
maybe you could tell me, because
I'm actually not going to bore people with tech specs or go into the gory details. I'll just simply do the lazy gamer version of go on our damn Facebook page and
go
read
to
the article.
Radio and like us and comment.
And follow us on Twitter at GamerFeed Radio.
Word.
Because everybody else is. Do you have any little tidbits from the week that you'd like to add? I mean, that was basically the things from TGS. Honestly, the rest of it was we showed this game. Sony did a press conference and talked about all the crap we already knew about. I mean, it was kind of light.
Oh, so this is interesting. BioShock. It just came out today. I just pulled up my.
I did. I read something about this. Go on.
Yeah, this is maybe leaked. This is just a tidbit. We don't have to harp on it too long here. But there's a rumored some kind of BioShock collection. You'd imagine maybe 1, 2, and Infinite coming to PS4 and Xbox One this November. That'd be pretty sweet. I'm a fan of the BioShock games.
Yes.
And by BioShock games, I mean the real BioShock games, which are 1 and Infinite, not 2, which was not made by Ken Levine and Irrational Games.
Wow.
But those first and third games are, like, up there. Those are, like, for a reason, considered some of the great games. Like,
yeah, ever. I mean, when you start name-dropping, I can't compete with that.
I love that, man. Ken Levine, whatever, I don't know.
Hey,
but
apparently...
if it's real, man, everybody should go out and get those if you haven't played them.
Maybe the long-lost cousin of Adam Levine, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're like brothers.
It could be, or something weird like that.
Sure, I believe it.
Oh my god. Yeah. Good. Any other games? I mean, again, I can't understate enough that as horribly minimal as it was, everything else was just kind of there. I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot of news that came out of the actual conference itself.
Yeah, where there was like news around it, kind of like what we were talking about, but like little tidbits afterwards or before. But yeah, in general, the thing was, I don't know if I'd say letdown, but I would just say small. It was kind of a small... No,
I think it's okay to call it a letdown. Cause
it was a letdown, all right. Pretty much this is a podcast. We need to be hardcore and opinionated. What am I doing?
No, it was pretty... I mean, hey...
It was the worst TGS of my life.
It was awful.
It wasn't as good as 1997 when Square gave everybody Final Fantasy VIII. It was stupid, and it sucked.
That was the worst Final Fantasy.
All right. Oh, I don't know what that meant. I was just kidding. I figured that game probably came out around 1997. So.
Ish, and it was terrible. It was absolutely horrific.
Nice.
Did not care for it at all. And when you go back and look at it, the graphics just don't. They don't translate well.
Like many a PS1 game, but that one especially.
Why you got to be like that?
I'm just saying, the N64 games probably age better than PS1 games.
Oh, I mean, I'm
not games at least feel solid.
Well, yeah, that's because they literally were.
Yeah, like PS4 games look like these freaking jaggy, wobbling.
Yeah, that's when shapes. Polygons and.
But like N64, you look at like Donkey Kong 64, which I know used the expansion pack, but that game like was like a good real game, like meaty, I should say. It feels like I'm a Donkey Kong.
I don't know if you need to go down that route, and I would really prefer if you would refrain from any other comments regarding meat. Thank you.
Donkey Kong, my Donkey Kong impression. That should be one for the...
I mean, you always provide such great material. I have a vast library of Bradisms that may have to be added to future shows.
Lord help us. All right.
Quite literally. So that's... It sounds horrible, but that's like it. Unless you have anything else.
It's a baby show, so they don't all gotta be, feature length.
No, I'm totally all. Hey, I mean, if we could cram it all in a half hour, and that would be awesome.
That's what my girlfriend. I'm just kidding.
I mean,
bleep that out. Just
no, I'm not bleeping it out. Everything.
I don't even know. There's not even like a good joke in there.
There isn't, except for people who know. There are people who know, and they'll totally get that joke and go, wow, 30 minutes? That's incredible. I thought it was more like 10 seconds. Anyway.
That was the joke. I know. That's why
and I had to ruin it, because that's what I do.
Yeah, okay. We got it.
Okay, well, keeping it short and sweet this week. I hope everybody is thrilled that you won, what is it going to end up being? About 20 minutes back in your life. I mean, we operate like the Price is Right every once in a while. You win time back in your day. So next week, of course, will be the Noobs feed with all the news noobs need to know. So definitely be sure that you come and check it out. The Noobs feed, by the way, is our most popular segment.
You gotta listen to that one.
It's going to be nutso. Even if it ends up just being Brad and I, and perhaps a special guest. I'm allowed to keep secrets. And
wait, what? Hold on, no, wait.
And perhaps a special guest. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
that's all I'm saying.
Once we hang up, it's good for the listeners.
I mean, we can hang up, and I'm still going to tell you. Perhaps a special guest.
No, no.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. I got to find out who this is.
So
it's Donald Trump, isn't it? You booked Donald Trump.
I did. I said, man, it's the hair.
He sent you a "Make America Great Again" hat, and
I wanted to talk about the wall, and I wanted to just say China over and over and over again, many times in a statement.
China.
China's
killing us.
It's kind of like that Jimmy Fallon skit. Oh, Fallon does such a good job ripping on him, man.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Saw his
the mirror thing where he's like in the dressing room.
That. He interviews himself or whatever.
Yep, and then when the one where he did Hillary, that was great. Yeah. God. Okay, it's politics season. But anyway, GamerFeed Radio. You can check us out online at GamerFeedRadio.com, on Facebook, because that's where everybody else is. And as mentioned before, on the Twitter, at GamerFeed Radio. Of course, iTunes and iHeartRadio, we're on the air every week where everybody can check us out pretty much on demand. I mean, you just click the link and it plays. And hey, if you're on iTunes and you subscribe, which you should, you'll get an automatic notification on your iDevice of your choosing, whatever device that might be, telling you that the podcast is ready and you should listen. So you should.
Do it. Do it.
One of us. And
Google gobble. Google gobble.
And that's all we have for this week. So until next time, gamers, peace.
Bye.